Now, are these the strongest cheap knives out there? Maybe. Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here, coming at you from the KnifeCenter, and welcome to episode 254 of KniFAQ, the series where I answer all your questions, sharp or dull. What we do is we answer your sharp or dull questions. We get those from the comments section below these videos. I try to answer them, and Thomas behind the camera makes snarky comments.
Household voltage is not helpful to the human body.
A little bit of a fluctuation in your current right there.
I'm amped.
There you go. All right, let's get into the first question today, which comes from Loki Choki. It's a funny name. Question. I love Higos and the Boker Atlas. They are both one-piece folded handle scales. What other knives have this style of manufacturing? Fun question. I got some for you. So I'll start by showing folks the Higo, if you're unfamiliar. This is a Higo no Kami friction folder. One of the simplest knives, yet most enduring folding knives that has ever been made, quite honestly. And they are made simply, as you mentioned, with a folded piece of steel for the handle. You got that, you got the pivot, you got the blade. In this case, there's no lock or anything else like that. It is a friction folder, as mentioned. And despite that, it is really tough for only about 15 bucks. That's the kind of advantage of this, construction style, is a strength at a low price that is pretty much hard to duplicate anywhere else. Yes, certain other components are going to play into, the strength, how good is the pivot hardware, etc. But if you're looking for a cheap knife that is very durable, could do a lot worse than looking at this style of construction. The Higos are cool. They've got laminated blades as well, even at this $15 price point that this knife is coming with right here. Carbon steel, of course. There is a little bit of safety to keep the blade from folding forwards, and that's the thumb tab right there. Push down on that, and you've at least got some pressure holding the blade in the open position. The Atlases are a much more modern take on that style of thing from Boker, and they come in both slip joint and lock back options, as you can see on this one right here. Price on this one right here is not as low as the $15 here. We're at about 51 bucks here with a 2.8 inch D2 blade. But some of the slip joint versions, let me just check kind of like low price on those real quick. I did not do that ahead of time. We're talking like the low $30 range for the smallest versions of this, and yet incredibly tough. You can get this in other blade shapes as well, of course. But you already know about those, of course. Loki Choki. I'm not going to forget that name for a while.
Yeah, you will.
Who? Some other examples. We'll go with another, or something kind of closer in spirit to the Higo first, and the Duke. Come on, people. It's the Duke. If you're unfamiliar, it is a slip joint knife, not just a friction folder. You can see there's actually snap to it as you open and close it. These have gone up in price a little bit from where they used to. This is about 40 bucks nowadays. You've got an etched stainless steel blade, French construction, and the folded steel handle there as well. Really cool spine. One wonders if this is sort of possibly where the inspiration came for like the McVie SOG Bowie style of knives that are out there. I don't know. I couldn't say. But super strong, super slim as well when you go to slide it in your pocket. No pocket clip, of course. If you want that, you'll have to go with something like the Atlas for sure. Another classic, or like the other classic of the genre, like if I had to do three, it would be the Higo, the Duke, and the K55, the Black Cat from Otter Mercator, made in Solingen, Germany. This has also gone up a little bit in price from where it used to be. It's about 55 bucks right now. But this is not an Asian import. This is made in Solingen, like the capital, steel knife making capital of Germany, if not the EU currently. Steel handles. You've got a lockback in this case. So this is more like possibly a predecessor to the lockbacking of the lockbacking Atlases. that we were talking about. I got there. Don't worry about it. I'm okay. I'm getting enough sleep, I promise. Blades here, you can get carbon steel or stainless, and you've got that lock back there, mid-mounted like so. It'd be cool if I had I don't know actually when some of these first came into existence. I didn't do that bit of research.
Well, I know why you're looking at me for it.
I'm just finding myself regretful. Maybe I should have done a little more of that. But those are all the historical examples that I would consider kind of analogs to the Higo definitely, or alternatives to the Higo definitely. But there are some more modern things taking place in this genre that's kind of exciting. Like Boker's already doing it with the Atlas series, of course. But they're not just doing it at lower price points. We've also got the Keyhone Bifold, Lucas Burnley design, made in Solingen, just like the K55 is, but this is at a much higher level of execution. Folded steel frame, lockback, and Magna Cut steel blades in this case, for a price under $120 for that. That's pretty cool to see kind of this old school thing being brought really modern with modern marvels of knife steel metallurgy, and just a great shape overall too. Very usable, 3.1 3-inch blade, drop point. It's quite versatile. The strength of the lockback, of course, and a pocket clip, reversible to keep things convenient. You can even get this in a version without the thumb studs, so it's two-hand opening and locking, so it lacks that one-hand openability, which makes it compliant with German knife carry laws. Good thing for the Germans there. You get a domestic option for those folks right there. Very cool. I think, however, the most excited I am for this style of thing are being made by SRM, both for their in-house brands and some of the brands that they OEM for, including Real Steel. And they're taking this kind of classic thing and adding handle scales to it. So you still get the strength of that folded construction, but you get greater variety. I think the Iris from Real Steel, made by SRM, is kind of the perfect successor to kind of the cheap and cheerful aesthetic and vibe of some of these old school knives right here. These are just a little over $30. You've got a 3-inch blade, Sandvik 12C27 in this case, folded steel frame, and bolted to the sides, you've got some G10 and a wire pocket clip. And you can get this in both a standard flipper or a flunt fripper. Wow, I didn't even mean to say fripper, and my brain automatically did it.
Don't need to be frumpant.
That's a flunt fripping knife right here. Fripping knives. That actually works pretty good, even for one such as me that sometimes struggles with front flippers. I mean, just look at that next to kind of the lines of something like that Black Cat right there. I mean, it's got that kind of old school vibe and sentimentality to it, but with more modern appointments. You got the liner lock built into that folded steel frame, which is a pretty cool thing. And it's $32. It's a great steal of a knife for sure. Also from Real Steel, I'll show you a couple more here. The Sylph, which goes a step further. You've got the folded steel frame, but instead of kind of having more kind of hard-edged folds like you would have on the Keyhone right there, or a kind of less precise rounded over fold like you might have on the Duke. That is a fully consistent, nice curvature to the whole spine of that fold. And then they folded another piece of metal over top of it, just for a little bit of extra contrast. And some of the other versions of this actually do have contrasting finishes to it. These are $52. Blade is 3.15. What's the steel on these? Nitro V. I mean, how cool is that? Again with a liner lock, again with a deep carry pocket clip, and some nice flicking action with the thumb studs right there. And you can get some of these knives. I think one of the Real Steel models, actually in one of the SRM models too, are less than $20 for some of them. I didn't pull those today though. Maybe I should have. A lot of regrets in today's episode. My favorite of what SRM is making though, with this style right now, the Iris comes really close. I love how cheap and cheerful that thing is. But the Terrier series, the 258L from SRM, because this is just a great knife, and these are great deals too. Folded steel frame. In this case, you've got red liners and kind of an ivory G10. They're calling it white G10, but it's kind of ivory. Adding those with contour to it. You've got great ergonomics to the knife overall. Contour to that G10 fits in the hand really, really nicely. It's nice and neutral. You've got a laminated blade, 140 CR. It's a tool steel, if I'm remembering correctly. I always forget what this steel is analogous to because they're the only ones I know of who are like currently using it. But I seem to remember for its price, the performance ratio is really high for this. And prices, mentioning, on these are about like $65. And you can get the steel on an even less expensive, like the 255 something.
The number.
A different number SRM. And it also has a really cool thing they're doing with their pinch to swap pocket clip. No screws necessary, but it's not going to come out accidentally. It's a very deliberate act and series of coordinated motions to effectuate that switch. Very, very cool. Maybe a little less kind of, down to basics as something like the Higo or the Duke, but I think you should check them out. I think everybody should check them out. But who am I? Anyway. Thanks for the question. I already forgot the name. Loki Choki. I didn't, but Loki Choki. Thanks for the question. Hope those help. For inexpensive knives with very, very high durability, it's kind of hard to beat that construction method. Of course, you could go higher end and get like a milled integral titanium knife, but it's that's a whole different thing. But very durable too. All right, now let's get into the lightning round for today. Kelly Robinette says, I have an idea for a KniFAQ segment. Things you didn't know about knives or multi-tools. Kind of hard to do, to plan that out.
Right, because every time you know a new thing, that list gets smaller.
It's true. For instance, I just got my first pocket fixed blade, the Kaiser Bulldog Fixed. I love it. One of us. I've converted another to the pocket fixed blade. I love it. Anyway, sorry. And I didn't realize how easy it would be for me to cut myself because I kept trying to close it. The muscle memory is just there. That's why I like thumb studs. And a heck of a time getting used to crossbar locks after carrying mostly liner and frame locks for so long. Just a thought. Let me know, folks out there. This might be a good opportunity for like user submissions of, eye-opening things when you learned about them in terms of a certain knife feature or brand or who knows, anything knife related. Drop it in the comments. But I can absolutely relate to like the muscle memory thing. I mean, there have been times where it'll be a button lock knife when we're setting out the new knives of the week, and I try to go to close it with a like as though it were a liner lock or something like that. You get used to it. But the one knife that continues to throw me for a loop and just stymie my ambitions is this right here, the Buck 110 Auto. Because it is a button-fired side-opening automatic. And unlike every other button-fired side-opening automatic I have ever held, you can't push the button and close the knife to unlock it. It's still got the classic 110 lockback mechanism right there. And I don't know how many times, just as I'm not thinking, I try to close it like so by pushing the button and pushing on the spine. It don't work. It's a cool knife, but that don't work. So yeah, I can absolutely relate.
A secondary safety.
You could sort of think of it like that, actually. That reminds me of a question I didn't include today, but I was thinking about. Maybe we'll do it later. Anyway, yeah, hope that helps. Next question is from M. Stover68. Hey, DCA, looking for a recommendation, namely an EDC fixed blade in the vein of a steak knife. Stainless preferably, a hollow grind, but a slicey flat is welcome as well. Ideally something that is Scout or pocket carry for the sheath. Thanks much. I got something for you right here, and it is the Civivi Soken. It's a different knife by Civivi and this designer. This is the Modern Hunter, or the MDRN Hunter, the Modern Hunter, designed by Kyle Lamb. It's about $98. It may seem a little large to be an everyday carry fixed blade for some, but the sheath does make it work. I'll show that in just a minute. Blade is just over 4 inches long, Nitro V steel. It's actually got a hollow and then a flat grind as it gets closer towards the edge. So the geometry is really cool. Nitro V for the steel, if I didn't mention already, and G10. Definitely very tactical in terms of its handle design and the different grips you can do, but a great usable everyday carry shape that would make a great steak knife as well. And the reason I picked this knife over something that might actually be a little more compact is you mentioned the sheath as scout or pocket carry. How about a sheath that does both? That's what we got here. It has got the loops for scout carry, so that would be the smaller your back. For folks who aren't familiar with that, you could also carry it crossbody in a cross draw fashion, or you could take the loops off and take advantage of this little hook in the Kydex right here, which is designed to sit inside your pocket. And this essentially, it works on a similar mechanism to like the Emerson Wave opener, where it can open the blade of a folder as you pull it out of your pocket if you allow the hook to catch the hem. This, if you allow the hook to catch the hem of your pocket, keeps the sheath in your pocket and the blade comes free. So you got both options right there. I think it would make a great dandy steak knife as well. Nelson Cam has our next lightning round question. Question for the KniFAQ: is there any partially serrated folding knife that has the serrations near the tip? Since most times that I need serrations, I also need to finagle up the point into a tight spot, and otherwise need the straight edge near my grip for leverage. Any box cutting makes no difference, straight or serrated edge anyway. I could almost call this a true frequently asked question. And while it may not be like super frequent, it's definitely something that has come up, more than once, more than a handful of times even, over the years of doing this series. Because you're absolutely right. There's not a lot out there that does it though. The one that always comes to mind is some of the larger Victorinox Swiss Army knives, like the one-hand Trekker right here. Because you're absolutely right. Serrations out there for slicing through rope or as a steak knife in a camp scenario, and then some plain edge near the back for push cuts or in a camp scenario, wood carving, that sort of thing. These are about $68. You've got an awl and a Phillips head on the back. The blade is liner locking, although you push it the opposite way you might be used to. Comes with a wood saw and then the bottle opener and can opener as well. But that's kind of about it, unless you're going to resort to kind of like custom modifications, that sort of thing, which you could do, and I would condone. But yeah, a true frequently asked question on the KniFAQ today. And one I've answered before, but one that is worth answering again because people keep asking the question.
It's all a conspiracy to make you buy 2 knives.
Just you wait till this next question, which is our finalist question, which is, of course, our most seriousest question of the day, which comes from Lake Hicks. This was a reply on a video we made on 5 reasons you need a knife, or maybe 4 reasons you need a knife. And he says, now do 4 reasons why I need 14 knives. My friend, I'm going to say it. This might be painful for some to hear, but no one needs 14 knives. That's not nearly enough. You got to have, you need more than that.
So rookie numbers.
You got to bump those numbers up. Anyway, keep your questions coming, folks, and keep your most seriousest questions coming as well, if you please, and thank you. If you've got any alternate suggestions for folks, let us know down in the comments. And what were some of those eye-opening knife moments you've had? Like the things you didn't know about knives that once you learned just kind of blew your mind. Maybe that could be kind of the angle for that new segment from that Kelly suggested.
Kelly's Mind Blowers.
Kelly's Mind Blowers. Not sure we can get away with that, but could be a fun segment. We'll workshop it here and see if we can't work something out. But if we're going to do it, we do need some seed suggestions from you folks down in the comments. Anyway, to get your hands on any of the knives you saw here, make sure to click the links in the description. Those will take you to KnifeCenter.com. And don't forget about our long-running Knife Rewards program, myriad payment options at checkout, including Sezzle if you want to break things up into payments. In addition to that, we'll leave a link to our Whatnot profile down in the comments. We're doing, at this point anyway, we're doing fun Friday streams. You might be able to score some good deals. We'll leave a link there as well. But that's it for now. I don't know what I'm saying there. My voltage fluctuated for a moment. That's it for now. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center. That's Thomas behind the camera, and we're signing out. See you next time.
Met a little resistance there, huh?
Yeah.